The Terran Republic was not a newcomer to the galactic scene, rather. It was so isolated and insignificant to most other states in conflicts that it largely remained unnoticed. Attempts to establish diplomatic relations with neighboring star states failed early on for one reason or another, with some outright refusing to engage with humanity for unknown reasons or simply feeling that humanity had nothing to offer. Thus, the Terran Republic remained in its small corner of the galaxy, expanding and industrializing to become self-sufficient, as was necessary for a small hermit republic. This need for autarky led the Terran government to embark on social engineering and political projects on a scale never before seen in human history. A fundamental transformation of human culture was necessary to ensure a high level of education and population growth required for rapid and efficient colonization of their local star group to coexist effectively. This required logistical feats so monumental that they made the colonization of Mars seem trivial by comparison. Maintaining the unity of these colonies in Terra itself, despite the distances, was essential to prevent any attempts at secession. Massive development projects were needed to make these colonies an integral and productive part of the expanding republic. The administration had to be significantly expanded and streamlined to effectively manage territories light years away from the solar system. Ultimately, the republic managed it. It stretched its boundaries to the edge of the neutral space available to it, succeeding in creating a unified human culture that served as a link between its territories and developing these territories to become productive parts of the republic. Compared to its neighbors, the Terran Republic was still quite small. Due to its isolation, few beyond a handful of geopolitical experts from neighboring countries had heard of it. The small patch of space the Terran Republic occupied became a highly developed and densely populated part of the galaxy. However, the states bordering it continued to refuse any contact with the Terran. As humanity learned more about its galactic surroundings by listening to local communications, it was discovered that the area of space occupied by humanity served as a buffer zone between regional powers. The reason humanity could so easily colonize the area now home to the Terran Republic was that they did not want to provoke their rivals into war. Ironically, the rivals were somewhat pleased that humanity served as a buffer between them. The Terran Republic was a much more solid barrier than open space. However, this left the Republic in a perpetual state of isolation. They could not even know about events happening beyond their star sector. From what the Terran listening posts could overhear, it seemed that none of the nations wanted the Republic to become an ally of any rival outside their small area, to use the Terran as a sort of dagger aimed at their backs. Thus, the Terran remained a small hermit republic, unknown to the vast majority of the galaxy's population and even its governments. However, everything changed with the invasion of the Rigari. The Rigari Empire was a major power in its region of space, seeking to expand its dominion and viewing the galactic area home to the Republic as ripe for conquest. Humanity first heard of the Rigari when they annexed the neighboring Aston Concordat. People could tell the Astons were at war due to the scale of their mobilization, but they did not know who they were fighting. After annexing the Astons, the Rigari expected to swiftly move through open space into the Atarian Confederation. What they did not expect was to encounter a state whose existence they were unaware of. The Terran Republic was an armed camp prepared in case the regional Cold War turned hot, and they found themselves caught in the crossfire. The Rigari and Terran were nations that just months before were unaware of each other's existence. But the Rigari were not inclined to halt their campaign just to welcome what they considered a minor bump on their path to power. The Terrans saw the Rigari as no more than another great challenge to overcome. The first Rigari fleet entered the Tidy system and was decimated by the second Terran fleet. The Terran launched a campaign of strategic annihilation against the invading Rigari forces. Decapitating strikes by the Terran Intelligence Agency left much of the Rigari armed forces leaderless and in disarray. The destruction of key supply nodes meant that Rigari military personnel were left without supplies and starved at many front lines. The Rigari were utterly unprepared for the numerous and fresh forces humanity could muster. In the end, external forces called for a peaceful resolution, which both the Rigari and Terran agreed to. The Rigari agreed because they could no longer sustain military action. The Terran agreed because they had already gained the concessions they wanted from the Atarian and Astons for their help in the war. This was also the first time humanity had made contact with the outer galaxy beyond their neighbors in the Rigari. The state calling for peace was the Humerian state, which, as far as the Terran understood, was the most powerful in the galaxy. They invited them to meet on one of their flagship vessels, the battleship Resilience, to discuss the terms of peace with humanity coming out on the side of it. The scene is set in the Conference Hall of Resilience. The Rugari delegation finally arrived, their scaly faces wearing a ceremonial air. The Rugari, a reptilian species, were strong compared to most known races, though not as formidable as the Humerians. "Please take a seat," commanded Araria, and they complied. The furniture had to be lowered to accommodate the much shorter stature of the various species, forcing the 3 Humerians to stand during the peace negotiations. Shortly thereafter, 3 Terran delegates entered, clad in hermetic suits that concealed their features, though their posture and silhouette seemed oddly familiar to the Humerians. The Terran merely gazed at the 3 Humerians, awe evident on their concealed faces. "You may remove your helmets if you wish, Terran. The atmosphere here is suited for both Terran and Rugari physiology," stated Makinas. "Oh, thank you," one Terran said, reaching for his helmet and unclasping it, with the others following suit. The helmetless Terran revealed faces all too familiar to the Humerians, who watched in shock. "So where should we sit?" Araria began, only to be interrupted by an Alarian outcry. "Is this some kind of sick joke?" Alarian was furious, his voice dripping with anger. What?" the Terran asked, a hint of fear in his voice. "Calm down," Alarian ordered Araria. But "calm down," Araria repeated more firmly this time. Araria surveyed the Terran delegates and circled the table. The Rugari delegates watched anxiously as the 12 FT Titan in power armor approached Alar. He stood over the Terran, then knelt, examining them closely. "Makinas, could you call a doctor? I want these 3 examined," Araria requested. "Yes," Araria Makinas replied, dialing the medic on his communicator. "May I ask why you're calling a doctor?" inquired one of the Terran. "Just confirming what we already suspect, little one." "No need to be afraid," Araria said, shifting from a professional tone to a more nurturing one. "No offense, Ma am, but we'd prefer not to be called little ones." "It's demeaning," said the Terran. We'll see," Araria remarked. Soon, the Humerian medic arrived, clad in white armor with a symbol that the Terran assumed denoted his profession. "Hello there, little ones. How did you find yourselves here?" the medic inquired. Well, we're a delegation sent by the Terran Republic to negotiate peace with the Rugari," one delegate explained. "Sure, little one. May we take blood samples?" Alaria requested. "Yes, of course. Come here, little ones," the medic said, placing his medical kit on the floor and extracting what seemed to be a syringe. "Hey, wait, we never agreed to owe." All 3 Terran raised their hands, wrists up. The medic chided them. "What the hell? Why can't I lower my hand? What in the world is happening?" The Terran screamed in surprise. The Rugari chuckled at seeing their foe in such a panic, but Alarian's glare silenced them. "Come now, little ones. Haven't your parents ever told you about psionics?" the doctor asked. "We've never seen or heard of psionics being real, sir. Please let go of my hand." "How peculiar," the doctor said. "Indeed peculiar," added Araria. The doctor tore open one Terran's suit at the wrist, which was outstretched. "All right, this might sting a bit," the Humerian medic warned, injecting the syringe. He repeated the procedure with the other 2 Terran. The doctor released the Terran from his spionic grip, and they immediately began rubbing their wrists. "The Republic will hear of this incident," one delegate warned. The doctor ignored them, while pulling another instrument from his bag. He inserted one of the blood vials into a machine, which promptly displayed the analysis results. Oh no," the doctor said, as if uncovering a dreadful truth. "What is it?" one of the Terran asked. "Oh, nothing, little one," the doctor replied. The Terran groaned in response. The doctor checked the remaining vials, giving a disheartened response to each. He approached Araria, still kneeling, and signaled her to stand. He whispered something into the audio receptor of her power armor. Araria gasped. "All 3 of them?" Araria asked. "I'm afraid so," the doctor replied. "Now wait just a damn minute. What the hell are you hiding from us? You invite us here to discuss peace, and now you're taking our blood without consent. What the hell is going on?" demanded one of the Terran. The giants in power armor looked down at the relatively small human. "If you would, could you also perform a reading on them? We need to know what we're dealing with," Araria requested the doctor. "I agree." "All right, you 3, brace yourselves. The first reading always feels odd," the doctor told the Terran. The Terran clutched their heads in pain as a migraine set in, but it faded as quickly as it arrived. "Oh," the doctor said, shocked and incredulous. "What does O mean?" Auraria asked. "Well, these three aren't lying. They truly are a delegation sent by the Terran Republic to negotiate peace with the Rigari," the doctor said. "It's just that the Terran are merely children afflicted with Xixian disease." The other Humerians in the room gasped at the doctor's explanation. "If I'm guessing correctly, these are the descendants of those aboard the hospital ship we lost contact with millennia ago. This explains why they're unaware of psionics. They died too young to ever develop it. I think we should inform the families of the long deceased. They might still want custody of their descendants." The doctor turned to the Rigari delegates. "Congratulations, Rigari. You lost a war to children with a debilitating disease. It would be funny if it weren't so sad," the doctor declared. "What proof do you have of all this?" one of the Terrans said. Auraria quickly unlocked her helmet and revealed a face much like a human's, except where eyes should be, there were glowing blue orbs. "What the hell?" said the Terran. "Do you think we can keep diplomatic relations normal?" Formalized, another Terran delegate asked. "No, the families of those long deceased have a right under the laws of the Humerian state to the descendants of those who perished from Xixian disease. It will be challenging to determine who has rights over whom, though we will eventually figure it out," Auraria stated. "Damn," the Terran muttered in unison. "Doctor, please take these little ones to the intensive care unit," Ilaria requested. "With pleasure, Auraria," the doctor replied. "What about the negotiations?" one of the Rigari delegates inquired. Auraria turned to them. "We will contact our government regarding the change in situation, and then let's just say our terms will be far less lenient than for the little ones," the Rigari swallowed nervously. All the achievements of the Terran Republic, all the remarkable feats of industry, organization, and military artistry, in the end, it was all just child's play. Humerian State Archive Xixian disease is characterized by its exclusive affliction of Humerian children, causing muscle degeneration, gradual vision loss, mental disorders, premature development of reproductive organs, and early death. Those suffering from this disease without proper treatment to cure it will not be able to live even 200 years, even if placed in an intensive care unit. Before the development of a cure, Xixian disease accounted for 98% of all Humerian child deaths. The discovery of its cure was hailed as one of the most significant breakthroughs in Humerian history. Humerian State Archive, the incident with the Elikon hospital ship in the year GV87, the Elikon hospital ship carrying over 1,000 Humerian children suffering from Xixian disease disappeared. The parents of the missing children demanded efforts to search for the lost vessel, but each search party returned empty-handed. Revision BC 287, it was discovered that the Elikon hospital ship had landed on a planet known to its current inhabitants as Earth and Terra. The children apparently survived the catastrophe and became the first in a long line of short-lived generations on this planet. At some point, a generation of descendants calling themselves Terran and humans formed a planetary government, which expanded to its local star clusters. The Republic was isolated and concealed by its neighbors in an attempt to preserve its neutrality. It served as a sort of buffer state between regional powers. During the aggressive Rigari War, the Terran Republic fought the advancing Rigari Empire when its army annexed the Republic's neighbor, the Aston Concordat. The Terran Republic achieved a series of military victories that dealt a devastating blow to the Rigari Empire's ability to wage war in this part of the galaxy. The war revealed the existence of the Terran Republic, and during peace negotiations on the battleship Fortitude, Humerian officials discovered who the Terran truly were. The Terran were sent to the Fortitude's intensive care unit. Their genetic history was analyzed, and it was discovered that they originated from several Humerian families. Since then, they have agreed to a joint guardianship arrangement. The revelation of the Terran as children suffering from Xixian disease sparked strong anti-Rigari sentiments among the Humerian population.